Some would argue South China Sea now is much more dangerous than Taiwan because it has no ready mechanism to manage conflict there.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that if you look at the military balance at this point in time and for the next, let's say, 10 years, it's unlikely that China will try to conquer Taiwan. And of course, there is always the possibility that a Taiwanese leader will declare independence, which I think would probably trigger a war. But the Americans fully understand that, and the Americans will go to great lengths to tell the Taiwanese, I hope, that no Taiwanese leader can declare independence, because we don't want a war over Taiwan, for sure. The South China Sea is a very different matter. China has disputes with countries like the Philippines that could easily lead to a shooting conflict. And as you know, the Americans have a treaty commitment to come to the aid of the Philippines. So the Americans could get dragged into a war or a shooting match between the Philippines and China. So you could tell other stories about how trouble breaks out in the South China Sea as well.
Many Chinese people would argue if US stop provoking China in these places near China, it will be much more peaceful situation.
Well, many Americans would argue that if the Chinese would stop provoking the Americans and China's neighbors, that we could all live peacefully. And this is exactly what you would expect. You have a security competition taking place.
And also some understanding gap.
Well, there's an understanding gap of sorts. I don't think that most Americans understand that it's not China's fault that it wants to be powerful. China has a deep-seated interest, as I said before, in making sure that it never suffers another century of national humiliation. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to be really powerful. Because if you're not powerful, other countries in the system will take advantage of you. And I think most Chinese don't understand that from an American point of view, the Americans should not want China to dominate Asia. Right? You should want to dominate Asia. China should want to dominate Asia the way we dominate the Western Hemisphere. So what that means is that you have this intense security competition where both sides are trying to take advantage of the other. This is the nature of security competition in a world where there's no higher authority and where states therefore have to worry greatly about the balance of power, and they have to maximize their power.